When I came to, it was morning again. Smoke still hung thick over Eindhoven, stinging the eyes and throat. Somewhere to the east, engines were droning, distant but steady, the sound of another formation coming in. My first thought was that the Luftwaffe was back. My second was that I couldn't hear Leon's voice anymore. Then I remembered why. Red found me kneeling beside a crater where a trolley stop had been. "You alive, Davis?" I nodded, still half deaf from the concussion. Around us, the town looked ruined. The bombers hadn't been selective. Whole blocks were flattened, fires still burning in the rafters. Civilians wandered the streets dazed, carrying whatever they'd managed to save. A photograph, a doll, a Bible wrapped in cloth. "Command says the Brits are finally pushing up from Sun," Red said. "We hold this sector till they arrive. Germans are regrouping across the river, probably setting up for another crack at us. We're it until the tanks get here." I glanced toward the south where the Wilhelmina Canal cut through the edge of town. Across it, among the trees, we could see movement, the flash of binoculars, the dark silhouettes of helmets. They were watching us too. We dug in along the main street, setting up our light machine guns at windows and corners. The Dutch resistance helped, bringing food, ammo, and information. Their leader, Pieter, joined us again, his face black with soot. He moved quietly, eyes sharp. "They will not give up this bridge easily," he warned. "They know it means everything." He was right. The Wilhelmina Bridge was the lifeline. The British tanks needed it to cross into northern Holland. If the Germans destroyed it, Market Garden would be over before it began. Around noon, the first shells came in, short, quick bursts, walking their way down the street. The noise was like tearing metal, sharp and endless. We ducked into doorways as glass and brick rained down. Then came the infantry, gray shapes moving low through the smoke, across gardens and alleyways. We opened up immediately. The MGs rattled, tracers stripping leaves from trees. I could see their faces briefly in the flashes, boys mostly, frightened like we were. The fighting blurred into chaos. A panzer wagon rolled in from the north end of the square, its gun sweeping the buildings. Red and another man from 2nd Squad darted across an alley with a bazooka. The first rocket missed. The second hit clean, right on the front armor. The explosion rocked the street. When the smoke cleared, the vehicle was burning, its tracks still grinding uselessly as the crew tried to crawl out. I thought we'd broken them, until the air raid sirens started again. "Christ, not again," someone muttered. The bombers came in waves this time, hitting the bridge, the warehouses, even the square we were defending. We scattered for cover, dragging the wounded as best we could. I dove into a cellar with 3 others, the ceiling groaning under each blast. Dust and plaster filled our mouths. When the noise finally stopped, an hour had passed. When we climbed out, half the neighborhood was gone. The Wilhelmina Bridge was battered but still standing, though the far end was blocked with debris. A few Dutch civilians had been working to clear it when the bombs hit. Now only pieces of their carts remained. It didn't feel like victory, just survival, scraped out of ruin. Later that afternoon, British Cromwell tanks finally rolled in, their turrets turning warily. The Dutch lined the streets to cheer, but it was different now, quieter, more solemn. They'd seen too much in one day to celebrate. We linked up with the British officers, a major who looked like he hadn't slept in years, and shared maps over a broken table. The push north had stalled near Vegel. Bridges damaged, resistance heavier than expected. Our job: hold Eindhoven at all costs. That night, rain swept back through the town, washing ash into the gutters. I sat under the edge of a burned-out shop with Red and Peter, drinking bitter coffee from a tin cup. Peter smoked slowly, staring into the dark. "Before the war," he said finally, "I used to work in that factory by the canal, Phillips Company, radios. We made the sets for all of Europe. Now it is rubble. Strange, isn't it, how quickly things can vanish?" Red gave a grim nod. "Yeah, one bad afternoon can erase a lifetime's work." Nobody spoke after that. We just listened to the distant rumble of artillery and the drip of rain through broken tiles. Sometime past midnight, the Germans tried again, probing the outskirts of town, sending small patrols across the canal. We heard the splashing first, then the muffled pops of grenades. Our machine guns lit them up. I saw one go down hard, another slip back into the water. Afterward, I couldn't sleep. I walked through what was left of the market square. A few Dutch civilians had built small fires in hollowed storefronts. A girl, no older than 12, was sweeping glass from her doorstep. She stopped when she saw me, eyes wide. I offered her a chocolate bar from my ration pack. She smiled shyly and whispered, "Dank you." It was the smallest thing, but it hit me harder than any explosion that day. At dawn, smoke drifted across the rooftops again. We thought we'd held the line for good, but command said otherwise. The Germans were massing north of the city, artillery moving into place. Eindhoven was just the beginning of something far bigger. We were told to prepare to move toward Nuenen and Helmond to link with the column pushing north to Arnhem. The real objective wasn't just Eindhoven. It was the Rhine, the last barrier before Germany itself. Red passed out extra ammunition. "Looks like the party's moving on," he said dryly. Then, looking me in the eye, "Don't get sloppy, Davis. The next few days will make this look like a walk in the park." He was right again. As we marched out of Eindhoven, the Dutch lined the streets, waving small flags patched from rags. Some were still crying. Others handed flowers and shouted blessings we couldn't understand. We smiled back anyway. I looked once more over my shoulder at the bridge still standing in the dawn light, smoke curling around its edges. It wasn't beauty I saw. It was defiance. All the bombs and shells hadn't taken it down, just as they hadn't taken us. For now, that was enough. We moved north, rifles slung, boots heavy with mud. Ahead lay the next town, the next bridge, the next nightmare. Market Garden was still alive, on paper at least. But deep down, we all knew we had miles to go before any of us saw home again.